Hello everyone. We're taking a look at Israel, Ukraine, and other conflicts of interest. As of this recording, it is November 5th, 2023. So, first off, starting here, we are looking at the northern border with Lebanon out here, and we can see that, first of all, the Israeli army had apparently targeted a car carrying 4 civilians, which later, as we can see up here, the Lebanese foreign minister will submit a complaint to the UN regarding this specific strike. So as to what this will turn out to be, we don't really know. But of course, this is some concerning news coming out of this area in particular, and of course some clashes going on in the West Bank out here. But most concerningly, I would say, so as we can see, the the IDF has seemingly consolidated its area in northern Gaza, and as we can see, Rear Admiral has said they have split the territory in two, and he says, quote, "Today there is North Gaza and South Gaza," and honestly, I really don't like that wording. I really don't like that wording in the idea that uh, I don't know if this is going to be a permanent thing. Like maybe this will be in the way that he seems to be speaking about it. Um, it seems that he is intending on holding this area in terms of like Israel holding it permanently, or it being perhaps a puppet government of Israel. Who knows? But again, it's just um, it seems to be that North and South Gaza, the way he's talking about it, is as if it's going to be a permanent thing. All right, so taking a look at what ISW is saying out here, just to preface, first of all, is that ISW is usually pretty generous with their reporting in terms of like what ground is being taken by certain parties. So take this map more or less with a grain of salt, but we can see that the Israeli ground forces seem to be advancing further into the heart or the center of Gaza City. As we take a look back at the previous map, this map here, most of the fighting, say for this area, is mostly not in very densely populated areas. As you can see in the north, it's mostly just fields and whatnot, and more towards the south, this is also just more fields, like a landfill area, and not really too densely populated or just densely packed areas. Seems like that's where they're trying to stay out of. So either they are perhaps gearing up for a siege, or gearing up for whatever it may be. But you know, it's something I just thought I'd mention here. And I was taking a quick look at this last story here coming out of Israel. So Netanyahu is suspending one of the ministers for saying that dropping a nuclear bomb is one of the possibilities in terms of this war. So later, just to keep context, later he apparently backtracked in saying that the comment was only metaphorical. But in terms of the footage that we'll look at in a second here, um, the way that of course Israel is conducting this war, it seems that um, like they said, they're trying to destroy Hamas, totally and completely. Um, but they are also, of course, trying to minimize civilian casualties. But if you've seen a couple of the other videos that we've looked at in terms of the bombings that go on in Gaza, it's not indiscriminate, but it's definitely yeah, it's some very heavy firepower. I'll just keep it at that. It's very heavy firepower um for a very densely populated area of who knows how many militants. Anyway, let's look at some footage. So here are just some of the ground operations that are being reported out here in Gaza. As we can see, this is more heavy industrial equipment that is quite regularly used by the IDF, as we know, using bulldozers quite regularly, heavily armored ones at that, just meant to destroy pretty much everything and anything that is in their path, and of course, it kind of tying back into the previous article that we looked at, talking about using a nuclear bomb, perhaps more so in the context of leveling the Gaza. But yeah, let's just play this clip really quick. There's nothing crazy that goes on. Just looking at this, soldiers and whatnot. But um, in terms of the way this war is being conducted and the way it's just happening before our eyes, it's 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 concerning seeing somebody saying that perhaps not necessarily maybe using a literal nuclear bomb, but leveling every building that's within the Gaza Strip, or at least in northern Gaza, um, for their gains. Uh, I don't have too much to say about it, but um, I'll just leave that up to you. All right, now pivoting over here to Ukraine, as we can see, the only update for today is that just the front line has been clarified, and we'll just take a quick look at that real quick. So as we can see, it's always so hard when they do this. They don't really tell you where they are. So here, of course, first of all, just Russian front line being pushed about maybe 100 meters or so near Chevone out here, and over here, I believe there was, yeah. So you know, Ukrainian forces just, I guess, being more clarified as to holding this field. Maybe a couple 100 meters, maybe, or just 100 meters or so. Of course, as we know, this doesn't necessarily mean that there were specifically any offensive actions done here recently. That they are probably just frontline clarifications. Um, and I believe this is the last one that this front line is just being clarified. Again, just holding the rest of this field and this windbreak out here. So yeah, and as I've talked about before, in terms of the in terms of whenever it's being updated as just being clarified, it may just be weeks or days of offensive work done by either side, and it finally amounts to just a few 100 meters of gains for what have you. So anyways, that's just what I wanted to talk about here really quick. All right, taking a quick look here at the combat that's being reported. Of course, as usual, broad shelling all across the front line, and just in general across Ukraine's northern border. And of note, 44 combat engagements being reported, of which, as we know, that's not necessarily too out of line as of what we've been seeing recently, just in terms of the Russians' offensive work slowly being wound down as of the past week or so. So that's mostly everything that I really wanted to talk about in terms of what's being reported out here. So here's some footage out of Donetsk, Russian-held territory, and this is apparently an ammo depot or an ammo dump, and it is hit by either ATACMS or some other Ukrainian equipment. And as we can see in a couple other stills in the video, it detonates. So um, just in terms of how this war, we see a lot of frontline stuff, but there is a lot of equipment being destroyed behind the front lines, and as we know, that is incredibly crucial. Either to supplying your forces, keeping them supplied, and making sure that they get their equipment properly. So perhaps if this is leading up to something more in the future in terms of offensive actions by Ukraine, or as we know, we this isn't necessarily uncommon in terms of explosions being recorded in either Donetsk held territory, or just other Russian held areas of ammo dumps being uh, exploded. Of course, we see Ukrainian ones as well, but mostly of what at least I personally see is mostly just Russian ones. So, it's just a clip I wanted to show. So now looking at some footage coming out of Myanmar. Um, personally, this is starting to become a conflict that I'm gaining more and more interest in as, either it heats up and as more footage comes out of it. But here's some footage that I wanted to show, just in terms of it itself. Um, as we can see, these guys on their motorcycles out here. So it's a 5 minute long clip, and I'm not gonna play it, just show some stills from it, since there's some pretty heavy combat going on out here. But mostly what this is and what the purpose appears to be is that it is it seems to be very publicized in terms of there is like music going on in the background. There is um, you know, uh, uh, there's like cuts, and there's fade ins, fade outs, and whatnot. So I just wanted to show it in that way that this conflict, again, conflicts of the 21st century, and this is what this is like, what it is, showing your captured opponents and whatever, while whatever epic epic battle music plays in the background, or whatever it is, um funk, remix, whatever. So that's really all I wanted to show here, is just this conflict is still ongoing, and if I ever get any map updates, I'll be sure to share it with you. All right, other than that, that's all I really wanted to talk about today. If you have any suggestions or anything else you might want me to talk about, just let me know in the comments. Other than that, thanks for watching.